Hi, this is Janice Masters, the Shaman Mama from janicemasters.com. And I'm very happy that you're joining me for this Spiral Path chat. So why Spiral Path? Well, that's what I call my coaching business, Spiral Path Coaching, because even this issue that we're going to talk about today, about not enough, feeling not enough, that's one of those issues that we keep coming through on the Spiral Path. That's the wonderful thing about the Spiral Path. Sabrina, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Is that we go through the same issues and sometimes we get impatient with ourselves. I can't believe I'm still dealing with this. The thing is, we never go through it as the same person because we're always transforming. And we never go through the same issue because it's always getting healed to higher and higher, deeper and deeper levels. So we're going to have a Spiral Path chat today about feeling not enough. You're definitely not alone. So the first thing we're going to do is be sure to connect with one another. Everyone who will be on this call for this chat, everyone who will watch the recording at a later date, we're all connected with an invisible web of light. And so it's as if we're holding hands. I'm here in Miami, Florida. Sabrina is in the Netherlands. And there may be people joining us from all over the U.S., from the UK. It's just a wonderful thing that technology gives us an opportunity to connect in real time this way. And we connect because of our attraction to the topic that we're going to talk about, because we share a common issue that maybe we struggle with, maybe we've conquered it, maybe we've healed it to a great degree. And if so, then we certainly have advice and wisdom to offer others who are dealing with the same kind of thing. So, as I've done in the past, today I felt to pull a card from my favorite oracle deck, which is this Gaia oracle deck. I really love it. It's the one I use the most. And the card that I pulled is this one. Jewel within a teardrop. The poetry of that is just so moving. The subtitle is Appreciation, Spiritual and Emotional Reconnection. I thought we'd get some additional guidance for diving into this topic. So here's what the Gaia Oracle deck says about this card, Jewel within a teardrop. You will soon experience a strong spiritual and emotional bond with another person, a family member, an animal, or pet. During this time, you will also reconnect with your innermost feelings and true nature, which have been suppressed or ignored of late. This is a deeply emotional time where tears of sadness transform to tears of joy. Your appreciation of life, love, and friendships will strengthen as you give thanks for the many blessings in your life. Love is truly all around you. Embrace it, cherish it, and honor it. You and those you love unite through a common bond, and the love you feel for one another grows stronger and more profound. This is a special and magical time. Be sure to savor each and every moment. Love is all that really matters. And the affirmation is, I am one with my higher self. I am in touch and in tune with my innermost feelings. I am blessed. I am spiritually connected to those I love. I am loved. Wow, this is a really sweet one, which is very appropriate because this particular issue of feeling not enough, excuse me, causes so much suffering. Stacy, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. So I'm just going to grab a cough drop because I get this tickle in my throat, which is annoying, and I don't want to be distracting. So we're going to dive into this issue of feeling not enough, not enough. There are so many ways to look at this, so many ways to frame this. Some in terms of the inner messages that we feel, that we hear, that we say to ourselves. Not enough is the simplest one. Yes, but is another one. Nice and is another one. And in a client session last night, she used the term finish line. Yeah, but I'm not at the finish line yet. So we're gonna take a look at why is this even an issue? Why is it even an issue? We start from the premise that we are spiritual beings who are not flawed in any way. Okay, but we're in this physical experience, and we're raised by physical humans, our parents generally. We're impacted by society and culture. And in the Western world, I don't live in the East, so I don't really know, but from what I've studied of Buddhism and Hinduism, there's a different sensibility about achievement. But in the West, achieve equals worth. So if you're not achieving, if you're not accomplishing, if you're not, as my client said last night, if you're not reaching the finish line, then you are not worth what you think you are. So, we introjected in childhood from our parents, from society, from the culture, from teachers, that we were not enough. That no matter what we showed up with, no matter what we accomplished, no matter what, it's like the proverbial kid who comes home with all A's and 1 B on her report card. And rather than celebrating an amazing achievement that is absolutely enough, the parent goes for what happened here with the B. How come it's not an A? There's an old joke. It's actually kind of funny, but it's very illustrative about a guy who receives from his wife for a holiday gift 2 neckties, beautiful neckties. So the next day he comes out of the bedroom wearing one of the neckties, and out of his wife's mouth comes, what, you didn't like the other one? Okay, so it is an impossible scenario, which means that carrot on the end of the stick that we picture in front of a donkey is in front of us. So no matter how much I walk forward, that carrot is always the same distance ahead of me. I have clients, I have friends who are the most intelligent, creative, beautiful, wonderful, accomplished women who have achieved so much. And this is not just relegated to women, men struggle with this as well, because it is woven into the culture, into the fabric of the culture. So they're so amazing, they're so accomplished, they're so intelligent, they're so everything, and yet they feel not enough. So there's this pattern of, which is a very stressful pattern, by the way, of constant striving, never taking a breath and actually feeling deep in the pit of your gut, I am enough. In this moment, I am enough. Take a moment right now. And no matter what is going on in your life right now, no matter what's in front of you right now as you watch this video with me, give yourself the message, just for this moment, I am enough. Just breathe it in and let it settle down as far as it can go. Breathe it in. Breathe in that I am enoughness. And give yourself a gift of that moment of relief. It's like, when you sit down at the end of a busy day and you just fall into the chair, that sense of, finally, That's what we're going for here. We're going for that kind of relief, that kind of letting go of the burden of I have to achieve, I have to produce, I have to accomplish, I have to be more, I have to be more, I have to be better, I have to reach the finish line. So in this context, if you have an amazing idea and you begin to put that idea down on paper, and the fruition of that idea would be that somewhere down the road, it might turn into an organization or even a law or even a book. Okay, it might. But are you willing to, in this moment, let yourself feel the enoughness of, wow, I got this amazingly inspired idea and I wrote it down. Could that be enough? Culture will tell you no. Parents will tell you no. Friends might even tell you no. Your ego will most definitely tell you no, because your ego has introjected all those messages from parents, teachers, culture. Okay, but can you shift that message? Can you let whatever it is in the moment be enough? And not only be enough, but to celebrate yourself for it. Because if it's never going to be enough until you have the book in your hands published, or until it has become a law, or until the organization has been established and has members, or until the money in the bank account reaches a certain level. If it's never going to be enough until that time, then guess what you force yourself to live in? You force yourself to live in disappointment about yourself. And I don't even have to know you. I do know you who are on this call right now, but I don't even have to know you to tell you that there's no reason to be disappointed in yourself, ever. Ever. You're just measuring yourself with the wrong yardstick, honey. One of my most powerful and favorite spiritual teachers is very fond of saying, you never get it done. Every one of us is going to die with some things undone, whether we die early in life or late in life, at 26 or 98, or we're going to leave some things undone. But the other thing that Abraham says, and it's like a two-pronged message, because they always say these two phrases together, which is why they've stuck with me, because it's meaningful to me as well. I'm in this with you. Abraham says, you never get it done, and you can't get it wrong. Now, those are two messages that can bring enormous relief and be like the marker when you're coming back into a marina on a boat, the marker for you to remember, oh, that's right, I'm enough. There's a concept called sufficiency, which is the complete opposite of this not feeling enough. Sufficiency means it's plenty. It's all that's needed. We don't need 1,000%. Don't need to have finished the project. And mind you, as an aside, we'll say we're not telling you not to set goals. Of course, goals is how we accomplish some of the things that we want. But along the way, why should we be made to suffer with the belief that if I haven't accomplished that goal, then somehow I'm not enough? When that is so far from the truth of our spiritual and our human reality. We didn't come here to be not enough. We came here to shine and to sparkle and to flow and to celebrate and to enjoy. We came here for so many wonderful experiences. I know someone who, I know a number of people who have children who have said to the child, how come you don't do XYZ as well as so-and-so's child does? She's the same age. Do you know how demoralizing that is? Maybe the child has just finished reading a book and she's really pleased with herself. And now she's told that that's not enough because so-and-so's child is reading a book with more pages or a higher reading difficulty level or whatever it is. Encouragement is always appropriate. So we don't have to tell our child that you're the smartest child the universe has ever seen. No, but wow, that's great. That's great. Very good. Very good. Because Fundamentally, underneath everything we say to the child is this concept of sufficiency, enoughness. At every step along the way, it's enough. Because the message of not enough that also uses words like should, which should be a 4-letter word, because it's something imposed by ego. When ego thinks that whatever you are or whatever you are doing is not enough, so you should do this other thing or you should be this other thing. Very good way to suppress who we are. Very good way to lose our voice. Very good way to use a word that a client used, become petrified, which doesn't mean just scared of speaking our truth or showing up authentically. It means the root of that word, petrified, is turned to stone. And we can become so frozen with fear around this not enoughness and all of the shoulds that we don't allow ourselves to be authentic. So what we're doing here is we're unraveling the messages. We're becoming aware of the messages. Sometimes we're not even, it's so ingrained and so embedded that when we talk about the goals, the finish line, as my client used that phrase, it's just like, well, of course there's a finish line, and of course you have to reach the finish line. Okay, but in the meantime, if you feel like shit about yourself, then the finish line is not a really good thing for you to be focusing on. Maybe the thing to be focusing on is where you are right now, what you've done right now, what you've been inspired to right now, who you are right now, and the sufficiency of that. Hi, Megan. Thank you for joining. And Laurel, too. Hi. Glad you're both here. So we're talking about the concept of feeling not enough and how prevalent it is in our culture. The Buddhists have a wonderful approach to humanity, our humanity, with a concept of unconditional friendliness towards oneself. Now, if you are unconditionally friendly toward yourself, then you're not going to get into this business of not enough, yeah, but, nice and, why didn't you, why can't you, when will you, not until. Unconditional friendliness towards oneself is the way you treat a best friend. The latitude you give your friends, the appreciation you give your friends, the reassurance you give your friends. Just being able to turn that around and direct it back to oneself is a major turning point. How to Be Your Own Best Friend. That was a wonderful little book decades ago. Still really important. But first we have to dismantle this belief that we inherit from the culture, and that's where our parents got it from too. Look, I get it. Our parents were only trying to help us become the best that we could be. Okay? And so they did some things that were misguided, that resulted in us feeling discouraged rather than encouraged. But now the child in you, the inner child, the precious, vulnerable one, now she's in your charge. Now it's your job to encourage her. Now it's your job to reassure her. Now it's your job to convince her of her sufficiency. Pretty enough, smart enough, kind enough, friendly enough, everything enough, everything enough. It's like you can sit down and relax. There's no work to be done here. You are not a problem to be fixed. You are not something broken to be put back together. No. You're a perfect snowflake who just needs to be reminded of your perfection. Snowflake doesn't float down to earth and say, oh gosh, I should have picked a different design this time. That one's much prettier. Or I'm going to try to get to earth and hit the ground faster than anybody else. No. Snowflake just falls out of a cloud, drifts, is gorgeous, Ever looked at snowflakes under an electron microscope? Oh my gosh. It's like looking at Masaru Emoto's work. And by the way, this might be a good idea. If you're familiar with Dr. Masaru Emoto's brilliant work with water and how water is affected by the words that we say, the feelings that we have, the music that we listen to. So he suggests taking a drinking vessel, a glass, or sometimes we use a water bottle or, one of these things like I have, and tape a piece of paper to it on which you have written enough or sufficient. Just tape it on there. When Masaru Emoto did experiments like this, and then looked at the water that was then frozen under the electron microscope to view the crystals that the ice formed, the drinking vessel, the glass that had a piece of paper on it with the words "I hate you," as opposed to a glass that had the words taped on it, "I love you," were so stunningly and staggeringly different that it would blow your mind if you've never seen the pictures. The "I hate you" ice crystals looked brown and muddy and misshapen and ugly. The "I love you" water ice crystals looked like genuine snowflakes and the most incredible, beautiful designs, pristine white, sparkling, clear, beautiful. Same thing when the water was exposed to heavy metal music versus Mozart. Same thing, they've done experiments with rice, cooked rice in 2 dishes, okay? And one is told every day, "I love you, you're so beautiful and you're so delicious." And the other one is told, "I hate you, you're so ugly and you taste like shit." The one that's given the positive messages stays fresh and edible for a much longer time than you would ever imagine. And the one given the harsh and demeaning messages starts to rot right away. That's how sensitive we are. We are all vibrational beings, okay? And so we're putting in all of this subject matter, this topic, into the realm of we are vibrational beings. And we have some control. We have a lot of control over the vibrations that we give to ourselves. And so changing the way we talk to ourselves, tuning into the messages. The client that I worked with recently who was using the term finish line, she did not realize that telling herself, "Well, I haven't reached the finish line yet, so it doesn't really count," was a really abusive way to look at things. It was abusive language directed at herself. And this is someone who, if I told you all of her accomplishments, you would just, wow. And you would say, "Well, what does she have to worry about? She's so accomplished." But enough is never enough. That's the problem with this issue. Never enough, never enough, never enough. And we can break that cycle by demanding of ourselves that we buy into the concept of sufficiency, enoughness. Why? For the health and the peace of mind of our inner child, if nothing else. But of course, that is something that then blooms and blossoms outward. If your inner child feels safe and protected and loved and reassured and encouraged, I can't even tell you how that changes your life experience as an adult. So, anyone have a question? Anyone have a comment? Well, I'm very glad you're here. I try to keep these chats to less than half an hour. So if a comment or a question occurs to you later on, please come back and just write it in the comments. And I'm so glad that you were here with me. Thank you for the opportunity to address this topic, one of the ones that's really important to us along the spiral path. And most of us can look back at where we came from originally when we first heard about this concept of not enoughness versus sufficiency. And we can look at how we've improved for ourselves, how we've begun to shift the messages in the past. We're still moving along the spiral path. And so just like my client, we can recognize things that we say, attitudes that we have toward ourselves that are in line with this not enoughness. And once we have the awareness, we can shift into the feelings and the beliefs about sufficiency. So let me know how you're doing with this. I really appreciate your being here. Thank you very much. You can find me at janicemasters.com. And right now, I have a free gift for you there. If you go to janicemasters.com/map, M-A-P, you will get a document from me called The Art of Miracles Map, which is a step-by-step process to teach you how to become an incredibly powerful miracle manifester to bring the things that you want into your life. So, I love you, thank you, and I will see you next time. I do these chats on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Eastern. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful afternoon.